So CHAMP Assistance Dogs stands for Canine Helpers Allow More Possibilities. And as I mentioned, our goal is to train assistance dogs to enhance life skills and promote companionship for our dogs as well as our clients. So we have four programs at CHAMP. We have our assistance dog program, we have our prison program, our therapy dog program, and our education dog program. We're going to talk to you a little bit more about each one of these. So, as I mentioned, we train and place assistance dogs so that our clients can live more independently. We train service dogs, public access service dogs. Those are the ones that are out in the community. And per ADA, they have their legal rights to be out in public. We also train home service dogs. They do all the same things that our public access service dogs do. They just do it in a home setting. So maybe someone doesn't need assistance going to the store, but they may need help at home because they may be staying at home by themselves. As you know, maybe someone else that they live with goes to work every day, so they may need help just in the home setting. We also have facility dogs. We're placed in courthouses, advocacy centers, schools, and we recently placed one in a nursing school, which is really exciting. We also have home companion dogs. These a lot of times we place with children, and those are more just companions for a home. They're not necessarily service dogs. They're not doing skills, but maybe they just provide that extra companionship that's needed inside of the home. So, what do some of our assistance dogs do for their partners? They do things like open and close doors, turning on and off light switches, bringing something maybe from the refrigerator or from the pantry, removing clothes and shoes. Sometimes they provide counterbalance, maybe. They wear a special harness for that. They pick up items that are dropped. They can retrieve items by name, carrying items in a book bag or a bag. We also use them a lot to augment physical therapy. That's something that both our therapy dogs and service dogs do, which is super cool. And I think one of the most important is enhancing the social relations and improving self-esteem. When our clients get one of our dogs, and it's just this sense of, this is my dog who relies on me and I'm going to care for him because he does so much for me. It's just this special bond that they have together, and that's really hard to even put into words, but I think that's one of the most important personally. So, training for our puppies. We call all of our puppies service dogs in training. In this picture, that's my service dog in training, Lakey. She's 2 now. It takes about 2 to 3 years for us to train our dogs, and we start when they're 8 weeks old. And most of the training that happens when they're young is socialization. So we try to get them exposed to as many things as we possibly can while they're young, so that as they get older, they're comfortable and confident in different situations. Obviously, we also work on a lot of skills. Some people say that they're tricks, but they're really skills. And so they train every single day, often multiple times a day inside of the puppy raiser's home. And then we also go into our office at least once a week, sometimes more than that. And we have 2 trainers, and they help us, puppy raisers, train our dogs and work on those skills so that we continue working at home, at the office, so that the puppies are really engrossed in that. That's the only life they know, is kind of that working life. However, they still do have fun things, I promise. They still get to be regular dogs. Placement. How do we place our dogs? We have an application. We have an interview process. We have a medical recommendation requirement for our dogs. We do place our dogs free of charge. So we do not ask our clients to pay for our dogs. And the typical cost is about $35,000. This cost covers so many things that maybe you might not cover for your normal pet. So they get their hips checked, They get their elbows checked, their eyes checked. They get a lot of preventative type screening tests that we might not do on our normal pet dogs. But we want to make sure that these dogs are healthy and that they can work as long as possible. And so we want to make sure that they are physically healthy enough to do that. So that's kind of why we do all of that preventative testing. And that's just in addition to the normal cost for having pets. I think everyone knows that that can be costly. So you can see in this picture here that that's one of the support harnesses that is an option if you needed that counterbalance dog. So that's kind of what that would look like on a dog. So one thing that's super special about us at Champ in particular is that we continue our relationship with the client and the dog throughout the lifetime of the dog and even beyond oftentimes. Once you're in Champ, you're part of our family. And when you get your dog, you may be able to do certain things and you and your dog may be working together in a certain way. And as time goes on, maybe something progresses and now you're not able to use, for example, both of your arms equally. Maybe now you really just need the dog to only work on one side of your body. So we make sure that you and the dog can continue to work together, and maybe we'll bring the trainer back in and the trainer will help navigate that process as far as how can we get the dog to do exactly what you as the client need them to do, so that you guys can both keep working together simultaneously and both be benefiting from your working relationship. And so I, like to say, we don't just give you the dog and say, hope it all works out for you. We make sure that you guys are going to have this really tight bond and that you're both benefiting from having each other in your lives. So, you can see two wonderful examples there. They are wonderful dogs and still both of them working today. So therapy dogs are trained to help a group of people. So they need to be invited to go places. That's the biggest difference. Is service dogs per the ADA are allowed to be with their person, and they don't need to be invited. If I bring my service dog into Target, I do not have to get assigned permission for me to bring him in there. However, if I have a therapy dog, we need to be invited to go there. So they do not have the same legal rights that service dogs do. They are owned pets. We go mostly to schools, nursing homes, hospitals, special events, universities. We even go to wakes or funerals, things like that. Their main job is to just provide comfort, joy, support, things like that to people out in the community. We do a temperament evaluation on the dogs. We want to see how they are in different situations. I like to use the example. This is in this picture, the chocolate Labradoodle is my previous therapy dog, Daphne. She's since passed away, but we were at a nursing home and the sprinklers went off and it was crazy and she did not care less. She enjoyed it, I think. But so you want to make sure that our dogs are comfortable in different situations. You never know when you're out what could possibly happen. And so that's why we do that temperament evaluation. Then we have a 12-week course, and this helps the dog and the handler learn how to interact with people in the community. If you're at a hospital, you need to learn how to maneuver your dog around hospital equipment or wheelchairs or things like that, that they might not have had exposure to previously. So we don't have any breeder size restrictions on our dogs. We've had literally almost every single breed. My current therapy dog is a Beagle Basset Hound mix named Walter, and he's too lazy to be here, so he's sleeping upstairs. He's 10, and so he's semi-retired, and so we don't make him do anything he doesn't want to do, so he's snoozing. But so no breeder size restriction on them. We do like them to be between 2 and 10 to start, because we want kind of that puppy craziness to be over, and we want to really know what their personality is like. And then we don't want them to be too old when they start, so that they're still happy to work and, not as many health issues. In a typical year, this is pre and post COVID, we're about at 35,000 children and adults for our therapy dogs teams. And this service is free to the community. All of our therapy dog teams are volunteers. So they're volunteering their time and their energy and their puppies to be out in the community, which is awesome. This is probably one of my favorite things that we do. That's how I started at Champ. And I can't tell you how many lives that my 2 therapy dogs alone have touched. I can't imagine all of the dogs we've ever had in our 26 years and how many lives that they've touched. So it's just, it's, it's incredible. This is Walter, by the way. Our education program, you guys are witnessing. So primarily my job is mostly dealing with kids. I mostly go into schools and teach kids about service dogs, how they help people, how to behave around working animals, working dogs. And sometimes we talk about pet care. Sometimes we, you know, get to do a demonstration where we get to show them what therapy dogs do and show them what service dogs do, which is really cool. We also do presentations to businesses who maybe might want some training for their employees on service dogs and what those rights are and what employees can and cannot question, things like that. Just for some confidence for those employees, especially places that might have a large amount or more frequent visits from service dogs, just for some additional help. We also hopefully in a post COVID world are going to bring back this Mud Agrees program. It's actually incredible. It's teaching social emotional learning through the therapy dog and the therapy dog journey. So it's a program put on by a nonprofit called North Shore Animal League, and they have created this program, and it's incredible. And it teaches kindness, compassion, and respect, things like that, which I think is incredible. Hopefully, we start doing more of that. We'll see if we can get more schools on board.